So Joe Biden, finally, after a month, has been confronted about Tara Reade. He was finally asked a direct question on Morning Joe on MSNBC. Let's just watch the clip, and then I will break it down with you, okay?
About your University of Delaware records. Do you agree with the reporting that those records were supposed to be revealed to the public and then they were resealed for a longer period of time until after you leave, quote, public life? And if you agree with that, if that's what happened, why did that happen?
Because, look, the fact is that there's a lot of things of speeches I've made, positions I've taken, interviews that I did overseas with people, all of those things relating to my job. And the idea that they would all be made public in the fact while I was running for public office, they could be really taken out of context. Their papers are position papers. They are documents that existed and that when I, for example, when I met with Putin or when I met with whomever, and all of that to be fodder in a campaign at this time, I don't know of anybody who's done anything like that. And so the National Archives is the only place there would be anything having to do with personnel records. There are no personnel records in the Biden papers at the university.
So personnel records aside, are you certain there was nothing about Tara Reade in those records? And if so,
I am absolutely certain.
Why not approve a search of her name in those records?
Approve a search of her name?
Yes, and reveal anything that might be related to Tara Reade in the University of Delaware records.
There is nothing. They wouldn't. They're not there. And if they, if it's, I don't understand the point you're trying to make.
The point I'm trying to make is that
there are no personnel records by definition.
The point I'm trying to make is that you are approving and actually calling for a search of the National Archives records of anything pertaining to Tara Reade. I'm asking why not do the same in the University of Delaware records, which have raised questions because they were supposed to be revealed to the public and then they were sealed for a longer period of time. Why not do it for both sets of records?
Because the material in the University of Delaware has no personnel files, but it does have a lot of confidential conversations that I had with the president about a particular issue, that I had with the heads of state of other places, that would not be something that would be revealed while I was in public office or while I was seeking public office. It just stands to reason, to the best of my knowledge, no one else has done that either.
I'm just talking about her name, not anybody else in those records. A search for that. Nothing classified with the president or anybody else. I'm just asking, why not do a search for Tara Reade's name in the University of Delaware records?
Look, I mean, who does that search?
The University of Delaware. Perhaps you set up a commission that can do it. I don't know. Whatever is the fairest way to create the most transparency.
Well, look, Mika, she said she filed a report. She has her employment records still. She said she refiled a report with the only office that would have a report in the United States Senate at the time. If the report was ever filed, it was filed there, period.
This entire thing was a PR stunt, okay? That wasn't journalism. That wasn't objective by any stretch of the imagination. No. This was a theater, okay? And there were certain parts during the interview where she pretends like, oh, she's grilling him and she's pushing back and asking the same question. No. This is all a diversion. This is a distraction, okay? Because notice how she is very adamant about him searching for Tara Reade's name in the University of Delaware files, yes, in his Senate files. And she keeps going after this issue while leaving out the fact that her mom called into Larry King Live's show in the 90s. And she also leaves out that Tara Reade was relieved of her duties. How do you explain that? The 2 interns that she was supervising corroborated it. Her neighbor reached out on her own to tell the media that Tara Reade had told her in the 90s about this sexual assault, that Joe Biden had assaulted her. And then she went and confirmed it again to MSNBC. Her brother also confirmed that she told him about the story. We have multiple people corroborating Tara Reade's story. Why doesn't she bring it up? And another thing to note is that they brought on Biden first, not Tara Reade. So they gave him the upper hand, letting him shape the narrative and control the tone of the debate, which once again shows you how the establishment and the media always favor people in power and disadvantage accusers. This whole interview was a setup. It's a setup. Guaranteed they gave Joe Biden the questions in advance. Guaranteed. Okay? This is all organized. MSNBC, they don't work as independent journalists. They work for the establishment. All right? Do you understand? This is all a theater. This is all a theater to make it look like, oh, we're being hard on Biden. We're grilling him. And then, you know, even after the grilling, well, it turns out he didn't do it. Everything's all good now. Let's go home. Why isn't she asking about Larry King? About Tara Reade's mom calling into the show in the 90s? Why isn't she asking about Tara Reade's neighbor corroborating her story? Why isn't she asking about the 2 interns who confirmed that Tara Reade was no longer supervising them, meaning she was retaliated against, just like many women who go through similar experiences have to deal with, just like many women who experience retaliation in the workplace after trying to report sexual assault. Immediate telltale sign. Why isn't she asking about that? Why isn't she bringing up the other witnesses who are corroborating Tara Reade's story? Nothing Joe Biden said defends him. This guy's sitting there acting like a fucking lawyer, trying to protect his ass, saying, oh, well, you know, to my knowledge, this, I don't know. And at one point, he's just like a fucking zombie. He's just staring at her, hoping that she'll go on talking so he doesn't have to say anything. This guy is a serial compulsive liar. All right. He lies about getting arrested trying to meet Nelson Mandela. He lies about graduating top of his class. He lies about the speeches that he wrote. He had to drop out. He had to drop out of that presidential race because he lied. Because he's a liar. He lied about the fucking Iraq war, motherfuckers. Are you not remembering the fucking Iraq war? What is wrong with your memory? It's still fucking ongoing. It's still happening. The war in Syria is still happening. Biden did that shit. Biden. He lies about the stupid Silver Star story. Lies about not wanting to cut Social Security. Why are you defending him? Even if Tara Reade was not telling the truth, Joe Biden is still a cunt and a war criminal. And what about all those videos of him sniffing women? Have you forgotten about them? Do I need to show them to you on the screen? It's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3, it's 3 fucking dozen. You motherfuckers. Who do you think you're bullshitting, man? You think I was born yesterday? You want to play this fucking game with me? This guy's entire fucking career is lying, cheating, murdering, stealing, and hurting other people. His entire fucking career. And then all of a sudden you have hashtag I believe Biden trending on Twitter. You believe Biden? The guy who lied about weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction. Man, you can't make this shit up. You really can't make this shit up. He belongs in the fucking Hague being tried as a war criminal. Not in the Oval Office. Although, you know, that's pretty much where all war criminals go, isn't it? Stop trying to tokenize Tara Reade and make sexual assault allegations to be some fucking game. They're not a fucking game. They're really not. If this had happened 20, 30 years ago, it's the end of his campaign. It would be the biggest fucking scandal in Washington, D.C. And you got the fucking audacity to tell me that this guy is decent after he bombed my country, and Bernie going around saying, oh, Joe Biden is a friend of mine and he's decent. Shut the fuck up, man. All of them part of the same clique, the same gang. Joe Biden, every time he opens his mouth, he made himself look worse. All right. You can tell that this guy, he did something. He did something. And I can guarantee you, if they open those Senate files, guess what? You ain't going to find no fucking record of Tara Reade complaining, because they either threw it away back in the 90s or they got rid of it now. Career politicians don't usually tend to leave damning evidence lying around implicating them in a fucking sexual assault allegation. You fucking dingus. All right? Like, how fucking low do you set your bar? Where is your moral compass? 7 other women came forward accusing Joe Biden of sexual misconduct. What about Lucy Flory? Do you think she's also fucking lying? What about all those videos? You can see him doing it. It's on fucking tape. What, Russia made those tapes as well? Once again, this is not just about Tara Reade, although we should take this allegation very, very seriously. And I think she's telling the truth. When I listen to her on the podcast, man, I still feel sick to my stomach imagining what happened to her. This is really a gut-wrenching story, imagining that stuff. What did she do wrong? Why does she deserve that? Why does any woman deserve that shit? To be burdened with that trauma for the rest of her fucking life. And then you're trying to discredit her and tarnish her reputation? For who? Joe Biden? This fucking scumbag? This guy who wanted to invade Iraq in fucking 98? This war criminal. You're defending him. Man, he scarred that woman. And other women too. What a fucking monster. Not to mention the millions of other people he scarred. They want you to fall into this trap of trying to fight with them and wrestle in the mud about whether Tara Reade is telling the truth or not. I think it's very clear that she's telling the truth, because every time evidence comes out, it's always in her favor and it corroborates her story. But don't get trapped into thinking this is just about Tara Reade, because Joe Biden was a piece of shit 2 months ago, and he's still a piece of shit after Tara Reade came forward. He's just a bigger piece of shit now. That's the only difference. But his entire fucking career, he's been a piece of shit. So if you want to defend a piece of shit, you deserve Trump. Yes, you do.